headshots have become a really big deal, of course, recently in the past few years with social media coming up and so on, being really big and engaging people. Visuals, of course, count. A little bit about my background. I've been shooting for 20 plus years. Been doing a lot of different kinds of work, shooting both the South Florida market and in the Indianapolis market. Started here, went down to South Florida for 9 years, came back up here because I got tired of hurricanes. They were usually just a bunch of wussy things off the coast that never hit us, but they turned off our power for several months. So it wasn't good. But so I came back up here, and it's been a really cool ride ever since because I started to re-engage the market here and been doing corporate headshots for about 5 or 6 years, and had the advantage or the privilege to work with a lot of different great clients and companies that I work for today, and including, of course, getting a whole lot of start with TKO Graphics. So that's worked in-house with them as both a photographer and web development, and doing some social media management as well. Now Randy Clark does all that good stuff, so check them out if you haven't. But as far as moving up today, I shoot basically faces and buildings, 2 different genres altogether, of course, architecture and headshots. Headshots is just very important, and it's about making someone look their best, not just having them stand in front of a camera and just taking a picture. The thing with headshots is, and everyone sees your headshot first, and since everyone hates the judgment word, let's use assessment or evaluation. Of course, every time you get a prospect on LinkedIn, Twitter, or anything else, it's like you have to see who this person is. Is it going to be a good connection? Is it good compatibility, and so on? Is their image professional? And not just professional, but is it really them? Is it someone who is engaging? And that visual is going to be one of the first things you see. People on the East and West Coast, like Peter Hurley, has been a really big advocate of making the headshot the big thing, and really changing up the styles too, to be a little fresher and cooler and so on, and a lot of people are going that way as well. What makes a great headshot photographer is going to be several things. One who does that as one of their specialties is a very big deal. You know, everyone has a great look if they are positioned right, if they're lit right. It doesn't matter what kind of look you have, you know, body type, face type, and so on, age. It's about what the photographer and actually the energy that you have with the photographer and the photographer and subject. So, you know, first, and when you look at a photographer's portfolio, you'll be able to tell this too, and this is very important. We get the best look out of someone by 1, lighting them well, and 2, posing them well. 3 is going to depend too on the post process. There's such thing as over retouching something. We've all seen that. Somebody looking not real, kind of fake. Plastic skin, we don't want that. But we also don't want excessive skin shine, things like that. Blood vessels in the eyes, teeth that could be brightened up a little bit. So those kinds of things count. But the biggest thing that's going to count, and I'll borrow a phrase again from Peter Hurley here, is, well, I don't know who knows, who in here has heard of Peter Hurley? Okay. He's a former model and the guy has just exploded with headshots, and he's helped to lead a whole industry into understanding how important this is and how good it can be. So he's New York and LA, I believe. But his philosophy is 90% therapist, 10% photographer. And of course, what does that mean? It means that you'll see a headshot sometimes of somebody that even might be posed well, looks good as far as the lighting is concerned, but they don't look comfortable. And maybe they look like a deer in headlights kind of thing. So the technicality of it, the technique might be really great, but is it real? Is it them? So there's a bit of a rapport that should be built up too. And sometimes somebody only has a couple minutes, sometimes they've got a lot more time. And as a photographer, it's important for a headshot photographer to be able to decipher that and be able to talk with someone and get to know them in whatever time frame they have. Not to have a long conversation or anything, but just to loosen up and have fun. That's what it's about, is just having fun and relaxing. So keep that in your head. 90% therapist, 10% photographer. Yes, we have the technology behind it. That's what's going to be important. But also it's going to be important to have that rapport and to take more than 2 shots as well, and to bring out what you, and is it, you know, too, if we're talking about LinkedIn, are we talking about a headshot that looks like it looks like it might belong on a dating site? How many have seen that? Okay, and you know, they say seduce the camera, and you kind of want to do that in any given case, but as a different kind of a thing. You know, if you're talking about, you know, leads and prospects for a finance company or financial firm versus getting on a dating site. And of course, that's another subject, but dating sites, typically, you're best off with a good candidate, actually. But for these kinds of things here, of course, you want to look great, you want to look real and authentic. And I think that's about all I have. So again, thank you all very much. Paul and I are going to be working with a couple different styles. I have him explain it to his style to everyone here. I'm going to be working with a white high key background, which is pretty hot and contemporary. It's universal. So when you're deciding to which ones to go to, either way is going to be really great. But there's going to be a different look involved for each one of us. So we wanted to do that to give you all a variety. So thank you very much.
Hey, good morning, everybody. I feel loud. Man, I'm like stereo in my own head. That's a little strange. So Paul DeAndrea with Paul DeAndrea Photography. I am a corporate commercial freelance photographer. That means I don't shoot weddings and babies and little kid birthday parties. What I do shoot is lots of portraits and headshots. I help local businesses build, and actually some national businesses, build stock photo libraries of their own people doing their own things. Lots of happy people working on computers and shots of their office space, sometimes some product photography, a lot of photos so that when a business has a blog and they need to make a blog post, they want some good visuals, it's their people doing their things rather than an iStock photo that's been used 50,000 times of the happy white person, the happy black person, the happy oriental person, It's their people doing their things, but it's my job to make them look good. I used to write software for a living. I used to work for ExactTarget, and I got tired of sitting at a desk all day, so I started doing, ExactTarget was always hiring people, so I offered to do some portraits in exchange for some software, and then I did more portraits in exchange for a lens, and then another lens, and eventually they got busy enough that I was doing portraits for them all the time, and I started working for local businesses, and eventually got busy enough to quit my day job. That was 3.5 years ago, and so now I do this for a living, and it's really a lot of fun. I enjoy it. So we are doing portraits this morning, so we're going to do quick headshots. So just a kind of a note, how this runs when you're doing headshots can really vary depending on how many people we've got and how much time we've got. We've got a big crowd today, so these are going to go pretty quick. I'm going to have you stand on the white tape, and I'm going to direct you on how to stand and maybe a little bit about how to smile, but it's going to be pretty quick because we got to get through people this morning. If we had more time, we could talk about how to smile, and we could really work on fixing your tie, but we don't have quite that much time this morning, so it'll be fast. But I think that's about it for me. We got 2 sides. Oh, and something to mention, as far as post-processing goes, Josh and I have both agreed to do kind of basic post-processing on this, but there's a whole suite of touch-up work we can do. I think we agreed $25 for Josh and me. If you want like the full thing where you actually lose a couple pounds, $25. I can do it. As a matter of fact, if you don't like your tie or you don't like your jacket, I can do it, right? Yeah. As a matter of fact, I can even. Well, I can lose years too. We can do it. $50 a year. Yeah, that's a good idea. So there's a revenue stream I hadn't thought of. I can Photoshop in goats, no joke, I've got them. Yeah, where's my goats? They're at home. They were still in bed when I left this morning.